If you clicked on this video, you probably have a large population of transactions or invoices in Excel, and you want to learn how to select a random sample out of them that you can review to make sure that everything is working correctly. In this video, I'm going to show you a few ways to do this in Excel, and I'm also going to show you how to do it in one click with an Excel add-in. So I have this dummy data here. It's a population of 143 invoices, and what I want to do is check as part of an internal audit procedure that those invoices have been correctly processed. And in order to do that, I'm not going to go and check all the 143 invoices. I'm going to select a random sample of, let's say, 10 invoices. I'm going to show you 3 ways to do it, and then a really cool way to do it entirely via an Excel plugin that would only take you 1 click, so definitely stick to the end. Here, first I'll add a sequence number. You might have that as part of your population, you might not. I'm just going to use the sequence formula, and in terms of number of rows, I'm just going to count the amounts, and this just adds an array formula with the numbers from 1 through 143. Then I'm going to have a sample here, which is going to show me which ones of those are part of our sample, and I'm also going to generate a list of random numbers. I'm going to use the RANDBETWEEN, and my bottom will be essentially 1, and my top will be 143, and this gives me 36. Just gonna fix that, F4, and actually here I can switch that to count, and then again select all the amounts, and I'm also gonna fix that as well. And then I can drag that down, make sure that I have 10 items, and those would be my 10 random items. You see here that this approach is a bit flawed because in this case we have 2 of the same, but the good thing here is that by hitting F9, which recalculates the sheet, this is being reiterated every single time we calculate the sheet, and even if we change another cell, it still recalculates everything, so it recalculates this as well. So in order to fix that, what we can do is we can copy that and paste it as values, and that way those won't change anymore. If I hit F9, nothing happens. The only thing left to do is we can have a formula here. We're going to say if error, and then we're going to say if VLOOKUP this here, the sequence number, within this random range. I'm going to fix that with F4. We need the first column, false, we want exact match. So if this thing equals H2, because if we're looking for 7 and we find 7 here, with the VLOOKUP, the result will be 7. So we're checking if the result equals this sequence. Give me an X, otherwise give me nothing. And in the if error, again, give me nothing. We can go down and paste this all the way to the bottom. And that way we have marks for the items that are part of this sample. This is a bit finicky. I don't really like it that much as an approach. So what we often do is we use the so-called rand sort. So rand is another function that we can grab. So we're going to say sample, format it, and here we'll just say equals rand. And essentially this function gives us a number between 0 and 1. So the whole idea of this approach is that we copy that all the way to the bottom. And you see that, again, if we press F9, it recalculates. So we'll grab the whole thing, copy it, and paste it as values. And what we can do then is we can grab the whole table, add a filter, and then just order those largest to smallest or smallest to largest, however we want, and just grab the first 10 items, and those will be our sample. This is another approach that is usually a bit faster, so it's really easy, especially if you're doing a lot of those samples and you don't have access to any sophisticated software. But in some cases, I want to have something that looks a bit more official, especially if I have to present it. So in some situations, I'll do a random seed as a step, and then a random starting point, and generate random IDs. And the way to do that is just gonna grab those here, paste them here, delete this one, and this sequence already should work. Yep. And here I'm gonna start calculating a few things on the side. So first thing I have is my random seed or my random step or whatever, where I'm just gonna say that it equals a round, and in round I have the rand function, multiply that by, let's say, 1,000,000,000 and round it to 0. So this would just give me a huge number. Then I have a random start, and this random start will be equal to round again. I'm gonna use the rand function, multiply it by the count of items here. I'm gonna select the amount column, and then I'm gonna round this to 0 digits after the decimal point. So now I have a random start that's between 1 and 143, and then I have a huge random step. Next, let's generate some random IDs. So the first one will obviously be our random start. And as for the second one, we're gonna write this formula that says that we are grabbing this, so our previous ID, and we're adding this number, but essentially we're looping through all those items and coming back somewhere between them. So we'll use the mod function, which allows us to divide a number by another number and returns the remainder after that. So essentially, if we were dividing 100 over 90, it would return 10. And what this requires is two parameters. So the first one is the number we're dividing, and this will be this here, L4, the huge number. I'm gonna fix it with F4, and the other number, the divisor, will be the count here. So we can just say count and then grab the amounts here. And I'm grabbing the amounts because count only works with values. So if you want to be grabbing like invoices or the description or something else, you should use count A. I'm gonna fix this as well. And this is my formula. So I can now drop that down, and you see that it goes well above our 143 items here. And the reason for that is that we are using the mod function and dividing this by the number of items, but then we're just adding the previous number. So we have to adjust our formula, and we have to do the same thing with the mod function for the whole thing as well. So essentially, we have to come here at the beginning, start a mod function, and this will be our number, and then our divisor will be count, and we'll grab again the amounts here, fix them with F4, close this, and close the last bracket. And now if we copy that down, all those should be between 1 and 143. Here again, you can run into some issues. So if we keep hitting F9 to refresh that, at some point you end up with a 0, hitting F9 a few times. And keep in mind, this is not better than any of the other methods. It just looks a bit more professional depending on who you have to show this to. As soon as I'm happy that there are no repeating numbers here, I'll just copy those two, paste them as values, and make sure that when I'm hitting F9, nothing changes. And especially if you're selecting more than 10, you can always use the unique function to make sure that you don't have anything repeating. From here, it's a similar formula to what we did with RANDBETWEEN. So we'll say if error, if VLOOKUP this in this array here, fix it with F4. We want the first one, false for exact match. So if this is equal to this, then we want the next, otherwise we want nothing, and we want nothing in the if error function. Copy that to the bottom, and we have our sample selected. An additional thing that you can do is use an add-in. So for example, if I select my entire table here, I can use a tool that I have in this add-in called random sample. Here it is. I can change the sample size. I'm gonna hit my selection contains headers, because otherwise you see that it says population size 144, so it's taking the header as well. I'm gonna say my selection contains headers, and you can either copy sample to new sheet or highlight the sample within this sheet. Let's say we want to output 15 as a sample size, generate sample, and it just copies like 15 random items to another sheet. So this Excel add-in called Minty Tools is actually an add-in that I'm developing, and you can learn more about it in the first link in the description below. Now that you know how to generate a random sample out of a population, you may need to organize your files better, and you can learn how to do that in this video up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in this video.